Daesh that have essentially led to the current situation in Manbij and the surrounding area. The first advance was that advance by the Turkey-backed Free Syrian Army forces against Daesh towards Al-Bab, which they of course took in February. That was Daesh's stronghold in northern Aleppo province. But there was also an advance by the Syrian regime around the same time towards the same area and towards a town called Terdif, which is just next to Al-Bab. The regime managed to take that and then push on towards territory controlled by the SDF, this group that's largely composed of the YPG. And then we have the current situation where the FSA forces, those Turkey-backed FSA forces, were indicating that they would continue their advance onto Manbij, onto territory controlled by the SDF. This was considered a part of the wider Operation Euphrates Shield, that it wasn't just against Daesh, but also against the YPG as well, which of course Turkey does consider a terrorist organization. And what's happened now is that the regime have essentially come in and created a sort of buffer zone between the two sides. And it's quite interesting considering that both the FSA and the SDF are, at least on the surface of things, considered both part of the opposition, and yet the buffer zone created between the two is the regime, which is ostensibly supposed to be both of their opponents. In terms of Turkey's position and what could now happen in the future, of course, Turkey now faces a situation where the United States, US forces are now patrolling in Manbij city itself. They're quite clearly showing their support for the SDF, for the Manbij Military Council, the group there that is seen as a part of the SDF, and that they have said that they are aiming to deter any aggression, what they termed any aggression in Manbij. And of course as well you have the Russians supporting the regime in that buffer zone. And Bin Ali Yildirim, the Turkish Prime Minister, did say that any now future moves will be coordinated with Russia and the United States, and in accordance with that, there was actually a meeting between the heads of the Turkish army, the Russian army, and the American army in Antalya. They said they discussed Syria, they discussed Iraq and regional security, and of course Manbij and the situation there will have been part of that. And so now, in terms of what's going to happen in the days and weeks ahead, that's something that will be coordinated between those three powers and of course the other groups on the ground as well.